but sometimes you gotta connect back to in a mindset where it's all business. It's not personal. Don't even take it personal.
Right. So today I'm talking about the things that I've learned or experienced in the last 11 years of being a full-time single mom entrepreneur. It's been a long journey, but if you're interested in hearing that, then keep on watching. Hey y'all, hey, it's khameleonkay. And in this corner of the internet, single moms boss up by owning it all, their life, their time, and their finances through entrepreneurship in every category of life. So if that sounds like your kind of vibe, don't forget to subscribe and welcome to the fam, Chameleon. Alright, let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing that I want to say that I've learned is to have multiple streams of income. So when I had my first business, I started my other business because at the time things just didn't go the way I planned for them to go, and then I created the second business to have backup income because I didn't want to get a job. So I just created another source of income for myself. And so having multiple streams of income helps you when, like, so if you have multiple streams of income and one of your businesses is down, or one of your streams of income isn't bringing in what you expected it to, or it's slow for you or that business, then you can always have another business to make up for that. It never hurts to have more than what you need, but it does hurt to have less. So that's my first word of advice. The second thing that I've learned and I've also experienced is to involve your kids when you can. So my first business was actually childcare, and the reason I did it that way is because at the time one of my kids was 4 and the other one was about 4 months. So that was the best thing for me, so that I can still, because honestly the whole reason behind me starting a business in the first place was so that I could have that time freedom for my kids. I hated leaving him at daycare. Well, my son anyway, I hated leaving him at daycare, so that was like the best thing for me at the time. Now of course, now that they're older, when I say involve your kids, that's more of like I can involve them in the business. Like I can get them to do things to help me out, and then, you know, I mean, if you know, you know, but you can pay your kids, and it's money that you would give them anyway, and paying them then becomes a write-off for you. So it's money you would give them anyway. They help you out. You know, it's like, it's a win-win. Of course, when they were that young, I just found a way to involve them so that I wasn't taking time away from them, and I still could do for them with them when I want to. And I'm still that way now, but now that they're older, it's just a little easier. I have a little bit more flexibility than what I did when they were younger and trying to involve them. Next, I want to say be willing to pivot. So like I was saying a little earlier, things don't always go as planned. You may have this perfect idea and how it plays out in your head. You think that you dotted all your I's and crossed all your T's, and life is just like, nah, you didn't, you thought it. Right? So when things come up or things aren't working out, sometimes you need to pivot. You need to be able to have that flexibility and that creativity to then figure out a new direction in order to get to that same end goal. So yeah, like things just aren't gonna work out the way you plan sometimes, and that's okay. Sometimes you just need to create a new approach, a different approach, and at times even a whole new idea. Which brings me into my next thing, which is to be adaptable. So things are always changing. The world is always changing. Look at what's going on now. Like say how it was pre-COVID versus how it is now, and how things are evolving, and how in order to stay up on the time, depending on what your business is, you may need to adapt to that. If you aren't comfortable with technology, like, you know, you may have to get comfortable with technology. It's just things that happen and it's out of your control at times. And so you have to adapt. You have to be willing to adapt. Entrepreneurship is all about adaptability
pivoting, etc. One of the good things I want to touch on is it's rewarding. From the day I became a full-time entrepreneur, I didn't have to miss any milestones. I was able to do what I wanted, go where I wanted. I had peace during the day when most people at work. I could go shopping. I could go to the gym. I could do those things and not have to worry about the crowd or, you know, the typical things that happen after 5 p.m., traffic, etc. Like, I didn't have to worry about those things because I did everything during the day. And then, of course, as far as my kids, I didn't have a sitter practically raising them. That was a perk for me. So going places in peace, the time and the financial freedom that it brings is priceless. So that is definitely a perk about full-time entrepreneurship. Another thing I learned on my journey is value trumps all. So when I say that, I mean if you can get somebody to see the value in you, if you can get a potential client or a potential customer to see the value in what your business or your service brings to the table, then you pretty much, can book them. Now, if you have competition or anything like that, it doesn't matter if you or what you're bringing to them is more valuable. There are even times where you'll have someone say, okay, I need to talk it over with XYZ, or I want to think about it. And in reality, they want to interview other people just to get a feel. Like, they don't want to go with the first person, or, they just want to make sure they're making the right decision. Fine. If you know you did your job and you know that you bring value and you know what you offer, if they see the value and you've been effective in presenting that value to them in a way that they understand, you have nothing to worry about. Whether they choose you or they don't choose you, be satisfied in knowing the value that you bring, and the rest, the decision making, etc., that's up to them. You done did your job. Next is more listening, less talking. And I know I just spoke about value, but when you can get a client or a customer to talk more than you and to, basically ask the questions to get an understanding of where their head is, what they need, what they want, what their expectations are in your service, or what they need in someone that they're buying that specific service from, then first of all, that gives you a foundation as to if you can help this person. The second thing that it does for you is it allows you that if you are able to help this person, then in that conversation, or if you ask the right questions, then at that point you know what's most important to them. And if you know what's most important to them, then you can deliver the best service. So always listen more than you talk, because you could go ahead and shoot out like, I do this, I do that, I, but then at that point it's all about you. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. Okay? Remember that. People love to talk about themselves. Allow them to talk about themselves. It's going to help you out. And I have seen people hire people for services when the person who's rendering the service doesn't know what they're doing, but they hired them because they liked them. They gave them the space to express themselves, to talk, to relate, things like that. Mirror matching, that's something that if you're in the entrepreneur space, then you may have heard it. People love to talk. Let them. It's going to help you out. And like I said, when I've seen people hire someone who isn't as good just because they like them based on them being relatable, based on the conversation that the other person barely even had. The person that was rendering the service barely even talked. But because they were allowed to talk about themselves, that salesperson was able to mirror match them or connect with them on a relatable level of something they found in the conversation. And now, because they like them, they hired them. They may not have been the best person, but yeah, learn to listen more than you talk. Trust me, it's a skill. that will get you hired faster than if you're always the one talking. The next one is resilience is necessary. Being a full-time entrepreneur, you're going to need to be resilient. You're going to need to know how to take your emotions out of business. Things that, if they were on a personal level, would typically hurt your feelings, can't in business. You need to be resilient. You need to know how to bounce back, and quickly. You cannot let things get to you and you start making decisions from an emotional state, because then you are not making decisions from a business mindset. And when you're an entrepreneur, you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to brush off the small stuff, brush off the BS, and you're going to have to come back, and you need to be able to think fast, on your toes, be quick, be resilient, and bounce back. You got to know how to do it. It's going to be things in business that are going to otherwise hurt. There are things that may feel like jabs. There are things that may feel unfair to you. But sometimes you got to connect back to in a mindset where it's all business. It's not personal. Don't even take it personal. Don't let nothing get to you. Got to let it roll off your back. You got to know how to be resilient. The next one is you decide how much you make. And when I say you decide how much you make, it depends on how much you want to work. You get to create your own price structure. You get to create your own value. You get to add to your services. If you want to increase your sales, you can put in the work to do that. If you want to work less, you have the control to do that as well. So you are in complete control of your income. So whether that's a lot or a little bit, it's all you. The next one is, and I touched on this a little bit earlier, but things may not go as smoothly as you expected them to, so be prepared for roadblocks. Like I said, I did touch on this a little bit earlier, so I don't have to go as in depth, but yeah, so things are gonna come up. Things aren't gonna go as smooth. You may have thought that you were taking a smooth train ride, and then it turns out it's a roller coaster. So just be prepared for unexpected things, roadblocks, etc. to come up, because they will. And it won't always be at the most convenient times. There will be times that you'll work ridiculous hours, and then there will be times that you have a sense of calm. So there are times in business where it's time to grind. And sometimes it's just upfront work, and then it's smooth sailing afterward. And then there are other times when you have the chaos or the go, and then you have the times where it's calm, it's chill, it's not a whole lot going on. It's a lot, you get to relax. The money is coming easy. You've already done the work. You've already created the system, and you have these things working for you, so it's not as much of a grind. But be prepared to do both and have to do both, and depending on your industry, you may always be doing both. The next one is you'll need to exercise discipline in order to thrive. So you're working for yourself. You don't have anybody to say be here from this time to this time, work on this from this time to this time. No, it's all you. So if you don't have the discipline to sit down and make yourself do this work or get the work done in order to have an income, and you don't have anybody over your shoulder to tell you to do it, you need to have that discipline within. And having that discipline will then allow you to thrive in your business or in entrepreneurship. So self-accountability is huge. You'll want to love what you do in order to keep going. If you left a 9-to-5 because you didn't like something about it, and then you go into a business where you're doing something every day, again, that you don't like doing, or you start something else that again you aren't enjoying, it's not going to be desirable for you to do that either. So I feel like it's important for you to, whatever you choose to do in entrepreneurship, make sure it's something that you enjoy. It's nothing like being miserable having to do something consistently every day and then having to force yourself to do it because that's the only way that you're gonna pay bills or take care of your kids or etc. And it's something that you hate. So make sure, like, I understand sometimes it's based on a skill, but let's combine that skill with something that you enjoy doing too, or something that you're passionate about, because we're not becoming entrepreneurs to be miserable. Next, you'll need to attach your reason for becoming an entrepreneur to an emotionally driven why. So when I say an emotionally driven why, you're gonna have a big why. It's a reason why you want to do this, and I don't want it to be shallow, and and it's because that's not something that's going to keep you going every day. It has to be attached to an emotion, something that you want so bad inside that gets you up in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like that gives you the discipline to keep going. That gives you the discipline to, okay, this didn't work out this way, to find another way. That brings out your creative side. When you have an emotionally driven why, that's all you need. And I do have another video coming up next week where I go a little bit more into that, around the why and etc. And if you want to see that video, then go ahead and like this video because it helps me out, first of all. But subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss that video. Love y'all.
Hey, hey, what you gonna be? What do you see when you look in the mirror? Life is a beast, gotta face all your fears. Went through the pain, wiped all the tears. Give it some time, let it out here. Then they gon' see, that's my appeal. Then they gon' see, vision is clear. All this time